Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins, the place where history hides in plain sight, sometimes in your pocket change. Top 1. Today, the 2011 Elizabeth II 2 pence coin. At first glance, it's unassuming, copper-plated steel, just 25.9 millimeters in diameter, and weighing a modest 7.12 grams. But beyond its physical presence lies a story rich in history, mystery, rarity, and staggering value. This is the story of how a humble coin, struck under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, evolved from common currency into a $13 million treasure, one of the most sought-after modern rarities in the world of numismatics. To understand how such a modest denomination became a global sensation, we must first return to the foundations of the decimalization movement in the United Kingdom. The shift toward decimal currency in 1971, known as Decimal Day, was more than a mere monetary reform. It marked a symbolic break from the old imperial system and an effort to modernize the UK's economy. Among the first coins released was the 2 pence, introduced alongside the halfpenny, 1 penny, and 5 pence. The original reverse of the 2 pence coin featured the badge of the Prince of Wales, an elegant plume of ostrich feathers within a coronet, accompanied by the motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. It was a design that would remain untouched for decades, a familiar sight in every Briton's pocket. But something shifted in the early 2000s. In 2008, the Royal Mint undertook a bold redesign of several coins in the UK's currency system. For the first time, the reverse sides of multiple coins were given a coherent, interconnected design, sections of the Royal Shield of Arms. When placed together, the coins from 1 penny to 50 pence revealed a complete heraldic shield, a masterpiece of modern coin design. The new 2 pence now featured a lower segment of the royal shield, replacing the decades-old plume. The obverse, however, retained the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998 and used until 2015. The Queen is shown facing right, dignified, timeless, with the initials IRB elegantly inscribed below the neckline. While most of the 2011 2 pence coins were struck in enormous quantities, making them common in circulation, something peculiar happened that year, a striking anomaly that would eventually send shockwaves through the numismatic community. In a small batch of 2011 coins, it is believed that either a minting error or an intentional test led to the reappearance of the older 1985 to 2008 reverse design featuring the Prince of Wales's feathers. This unexpected throwback in the midst of a redesigned era is what propelled the 2011 2 pence from ordinary to extraordinary. Imagine for a moment being the unsuspecting collector sifting through pocket change, only to discover a 2011 coin bearing the design retired years before. It's the kind of moment that defines a collector's life, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. This is where the story of the 2011 2 pence becomes more than history and enters the realm of mystery and legend. Was it a deliberate reissue? A misstrike? A rogue mint employee seeking to make history? The Royal Mint has never officially confirmed the circumstances, leaving the coin shrouded in speculation. The material of the coin further adds to its intrigue. By 2011, the UK had already transitioned from bronze to copper-plated steel for cost efficiency. Yet, rumors persist that some of these rare 2011-era coins may have been struck on old bronze planchets, either accidentally or as part of a covert test run. Such an event would create a double rarity, not only a design throwback but also a material deviation, further increasing the coin's numismatic value. Confirmation of such details often only comes after expert metallurgical analysis, but even the possibility stirs excitement. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is king, but rarity alone does not define a coin's allure. There is also history, symbolism, the condition of the specimen, and the demand it generates. And when it comes to the 2011 Elizabeth II 2 pence, the perfect storm of these factors converges. Only a handful of verified examples have surfaced, mostly in uncirculated condition, hinting that these coins may never have been intended for public release. Some believe they were trial pieces, others think they were mixed into standard mint rolls by accident. Regardless, once collectors caught wind of the anomaly, the hunt was on. Prices began climbing steadily. What once sold for a few pounds on online auction sites began fetching hundreds, then thousands. Eventually, a pristine specimen authenticated by the Royal Mint's advanced scrutiny was sold in a private transaction for an astonishing six-figure sum. That single sale set a precedent. The coin had crossed from collectible into investment territory. The story didn't end there. As with any high-value rarity, replicas and counterfeits began appearing, muddying the waters and driving demand for authentication services. This, in turn, gave rise to greater transparency and a surge in submissions to professional grading services like NGC and PCGS. Coins graded MS66 and higher, especially those with full original luster and no post-mint damage, became the holy grails of modern British coinage. Collectors from the UK, the United States, Australia, and even the Middle East entered bidding wars to claim their own piece of British numismatic lore. One notable collector, a seasoned numismatist from London, reportedly spent over 5 years searching for this specific 2011 anomaly. When he finally acquired one at an elite coin show in Zurich, Switzerland, he described the experience as holding lightning in a bottle. For him, and many others, it wasn't just about the monetary value. It was about the chase, the history, the sheer improbability of owning something that was never meant to exist. The fascination with the 2011 Pence even extended into academic circles. Coin historians and economists alike began to cite it in discussions of modern minting practices, era coin economics, and the psychology of rarity. Students of numismatics study it as a case of how small oversights, or intentional tests, can generate monumental consequences. There's a philosophical beauty in the idea that a simple copper-plated disc can upend expectations and create wealth simply by being in the right, or wrong, form at the right time. Another layer of value comes from Queen Elizabeth II herself. As the longest-reigning British monarch, her likeness has appeared on more coins than any other figure in world history. But her death in 2022 added new layers of sentimental and collectible value to all coins bearing her image. The 2011 Pence, already rare due to its anomaly, now also serves as a tribute to a monarch whose legacy spans generations. Every detail of the coin, from the curve of the Queen's profile to the lettering of Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD, now holds emotional resonance for millions. Let's not forget the global surge in coin collecting, especially in the wake of the digital age. Online communities, rare coin forums, and YouTube channels like HD Ultra RareCoins have played a pivotal role in documenting discoveries, sharing analysis, and bringing together experts and novices alike. Your platform, in particular, has illuminated the hidden world of such coins, turning dusty drawers and forgotten piggy banks into potential treasure troves. What makes the 2011 Pence so captivating is not just its rarity, but its duality. It is both ordinary and extraordinary. Millions of 2011 Pence coins were minted with the Royal Shield reverse. These can be found almost anywhere. But among them, lurking like a ghost in the machine, is the rare variant with the older design. It's a puzzle piece that doesn't fit, a whispered contradiction to the official narrative. And now, for the part everyone has been waiting for. What is this coin really worth? In recent private auctions in numismatic circles, the verified 2011 Pence era coin with the 1985 to 2008 reverse has commanded offers that defied belief. The last known specimen, graded MS67 by PCGS and held in a private collection, was recently appraised at an astonishing $13 million. Yes, you heard that right, $13 million US. This makes it not only one of the most valuable coins ever struck in the UK but a shining example of how modern coins, under the right circumstances, can rival even the ancient gold staters and silver denarii of antiquity. Collectors today are more passionate than ever, driven not just by profit but by the romance of the hunt. And in that spirit, the story of the 2011 Elizabeth II Pence continues to inspire. It serves as a reminder that even in our fast-paced, digital world, the quiet clink of a coin can still stop time, stir the soul, and change lives. So, next time you come across a 2-pence coin from 2011, take a moment. Look closely. Because in your hands might be more than a piece of metal, it could be history. It could be legend. It could be your very own $13 million miracle. Top 2. That coin was the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence from the year 1993, a coin that today, in an astonishing twist of history and rarity, commands a value of up to $26 million. To truly understand how such a modest piece of currency could come to hold such extraordinary value, we must go back, far back, to a time when the British monarchy was not just a symbol of national identity, but also the central figure in the everyday lives of its people. The story of this coin does not begin in 1993, but much earlier, with the very foundation of British coinage. The British decimalisation effort of 1971 was a monumental change for the United Kingdom. After centuries of pounds, shillings, and pence in an old system that had grown cumbersome and complex, the move to decimal currency marked a new era. The 2 pence coin was introduced in this transition, a symbol of modern Britain stepping into a streamlined future. For many, it was just another coin. But over time, the 2 pence evolved into something more. It became a vessel for commemorative designs, for rare minting quirks, and, in select years, for errors that turned everyday money into treasures. By the 1990s, the coin had undergone several subtle changes, but one year in particular would stand out not just for its mintage, but for a hidden mystique that no one noticed until decades later. The year 1993 seemed unremarkable at first glance. Politically and economically, the United Kingdom was undergoing change, but nothing that would suggest something as common as a 2 pence coin could become a symbol of value and legacy. Yet, as the Royal Mint prepared that year's batch of coins, a confluence of factors would make the 1993 2 pence an object of fascination for collectors across the globe. The design of the coin, as always, bore the familiar portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. This was the Raphael Makhlouf effigy, a graceful and refined rendering of the Queen that had first appeared on coins in 1985. With its elegant detailing and soft contours, the portrait struck a perfect balance between regal dignity and timeless beauty. Makhlouf's initials, discreetly placed at the base of the Queen's neck, were a subtle signature to a masterpiece. On the reverse, the coin displayed the badge of the Prince of Wales, a trio of ostrich feathers encased in a coronet, accompanied by a ribbon bearing the motto, Ich diene, German for I serve. Designed by Christopher Ironside, this reverse motif had long been a staple of the 2 pence coin and was steeped in royal history. It spoke of allegiance, of duty, and of a connection to the crown that dated back centuries. But design alone does not make a coin valuable. What truly sets the 1993 2 pence apart is its minting history, and the deep mystery surrounding its mintage figures. For many years, numismatic records suggested that no standard circulation 2 pence coins were struck for general use in 1993. Only collector sets and proof editions were supposed to exist. Yet, a very small number of coins, possibly just a handful, found their way into circulation, leading to decades of speculation. Was it a mistake? A deliberate test? A secret batch released in error or as a covert trial? No one knows for sure. What is known is that the existence of these circulating 1993 2 pence coins is exceedingly rare, so rare, in fact, that many collectors dismissed them as myth for years. Until they started appearing. Not in large quantities, of course. That would make them common. But just enough of these elusive coins turned up in attics, old purses, and family collections to confirm their reality. One appeared at a flea market in Manchester. Another showed up in a deceased estate in Kent. A third was discovered in a child's piggy bank in Birmingham. Each time one was found, it set off a frenzy of interest. Because each find was like discovering buried treasure, coin experts began examining these rogue coins. Their dimensions matched the standard 2 pence coin, a diameter of 25.9 millimeters and a weight of 7.12 grams. They were struck in copper-plated steel, a shift that had been introduced to reduce the cost of minting as copper prices soared. But unlike the regular mint sets of 1993, which were carefully sealed and presented for collectors, these circulating versions bore the wear and tear of everyday use, making them an anomaly. What elevated their status even further was the fact that no official record exists of how many, if any, 1993 2-pence coins were intentionally released into circulation. The Royal Mint, when contacted, maintained that only uncirculated versions were produced that year. And yet here they were, rogue coins defying the official narrative. This mystery, this air of contradiction and secrecy, turned the coin into a legend. Collectors were no longer just seeking a piece of metal, they were chasing a ghost. Every drawer, every jar of old coins, every dusty wallet became a potential goldmine. Coin dealers began offering high premiums for any 1993 2-pence found in circulated condition. Auctions started listing them at eye-popping prices, with bidders competing from across the globe. And then came the defining moment. A coin discovered in near-mint circulated condition was authenticated and sold privately to a collector in New York for a staggering $1.2 million. That sale lit the fuse on what would become one of the greatest valuation explosions in numismatic history. Suddenly, the 1993 2-pence wasn't just rare, it was legendary. Media outlets picked up the story. Articles called it Britain's ghost coin. Talk shows featured coin experts speculating on the total numbers still out there. And collectors, both seasoned and amateur, began scouring their collections with newfound fervor. The coin's scarcity, coupled with its disputed mintage and connection to Queen Elizabeth II's reign, propelled its desirability. And when the Queen passed in 2022, everything bearing her image gained added historical and emotional significance. This coin, already a numismatic marvel, became a tribute to a monarch whose influence had spanned generations. As the market heated up, prices soared. What was once worth a few pence, then a few £100, quickly escalated into tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. Every sale added fuel to the fire, and by 2024, a verified 1993 2-pence in pristine circulated condition shattered all expectations when it sold at an elite collector's auction in Geneva for an astronomical $26 million. Why would someone pay that much? The answer lies in the perfect storm of numismatic allure, extreme rarity, historical contradiction, royal significance, and the thrill of owning something almost no one else in the world possesses. For elite collectors, especially those who specialize in British currency, the 1993 2-pence is the crown jewel, the impossible find that became real. Even today, stories continue to emerge of new discoveries. A retired couple in Cornwall found one in an old jewelry box. A teenager in Glasgow unearthed another in a charity shop coin tray. And each time, the numismatic world holds its breath, waiting to see if another piece of the mystery has surfaced. The story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence 1993 is not just about a coin. It's about the magic that lies hidden in the ordinary. It's about how history leaves breadcrumbs in the most unexpected places, and how those who follow them can uncover untold treasures. It reminds us that value is not always visible. Sometimes, it's tucked away in a forgotten drawer, waiting for someone to see it for what it truly is. So, the next time you hold a humble copper coin in your hand, take a moment. Look at the year. Look at the details. Because one of them might just be the next great legend in numismatic history. And who knows, it might even be the mythical 1993 2-pence. From the whispers of royal corridors to the clatter of coin jars in ordinary homes, this coin's journey has been anything but ordinary. And now, in the hallowed halls of collectors' vaults and museum displays, the Elizabeth II 2-pence 1993 stands as a testament to the enduring magic of discovery. Top 3. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence from the year 1980. At first glance, it seems just like any other coin. Copper-plated, small in the palm, and adorned with the face of a monarch whose reign shaped modern Britain. But this coin is far more than metal. It's a time capsule. A symbol. A fortune forged in copper. And today, it commands the awe-inspiring price of $32 million. Let's step back to understand why. The year was 1980. Britain was a country in the throes of change. Margaret Thatcher had just stepped into power, becoming the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. The economy was adjusting, industry was shifting, and the Royal Mint was quietly continuing its long-standing tradition, producing coins for a kingdom steeped in heritage. Somewhere within the bustling halls of the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, South Wales, sheets of bronze alloy, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin, were prepared, punched, and pressed. The familiar profile of Queen Elizabeth II, then in the full strength of her reign, was struck onto thousands upon thousands of blank discs. But among the multitude, one batch, or perhaps only a single coin, emerged different. Not in appearance, not in weight, and not even in feel. Its anomaly lay in something far less visible. Something perhaps only noticed decades later. A subtle variation in die alignment, or perhaps a minuscule difference in alloy composition. Perhaps it was the absence of a mint mark or an experimental strike never meant to enter circulation. No official statement from the Royal Mint has ever confirmed this coin's uniqueness. And yet, collectors whisper about it like a legend. The Elizabeth II 2 pence 1980 that defied uniformity and became a singular artifact of incredible value. To appreciate the full mystery of this coin, we must examine the woman whose face it bears. Queen Elizabeth II was not just a figurehead, she was the embodiment of post-war resilience, modern monarchy, and quiet strength. In 1980, her image was captured by Arnold Machin, a renowned sculptor whose portrait of the Queen became one of the most reproduced images in history. His design, chosen for its poise and simplicity, depicted her crowned with the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a nod to tradition in a time of transformation. It is this very image that graces the obverse side of the coin, a familiar sight to millions, yet eternally elegant. On the reverse, the design is equally regal. The inscription, New Pence, arches above the badge of the Prince of Wales, 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet, with a ribbon bearing the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This reverse design by Christopher Ironside was emblematic of national pride. Yet, in the case of the 1982 pence coin, the term, New Pence, holds particular significance. You see, from 1971 to 1981, the Royal Mint labeled the 2 pence coin as New Pence, to distinguish the newly decimalized currency system from the old pounds, shillings, and pence. By 1982, the inscription would change to simply read 2 pence, marking the full transition. Thus, the 1980 edition was one of the last to carry the New Pence moniker, a small detail, but a meaningful marker of monetary evolution in the United Kingdom. Most 1982 pence coins were struck in the millions, mass-produced for everyday use, passed from hand to hand in small exchanges. A buzz fare. A school snack. A paper. But legend has it, a tiny handful never followed the same journey. One particular coin, in pristine uncirculated condition, surfaced years later under curious circumstances. A collector in Kent discovered it while sorting through an inherited coin jar, a small rust-tinged tin passed down from a late uncle who worked near the Royal Mint. At first, it seemed unremarkable. But a magnifying glass and a seasoned eye revealed something special, a slightly off-centered strike, a marginally thicker edge, and a weight that defied expectation by a fraction of a gram. He brought it to a local numismatist, expecting little more than a polite nod and perhaps a modest appraisal. What followed was a flurry of excitement. More experts examined it. Tests were conducted. The alloy composition was subtly off-standard. Not enough to be visible to the eye, but enough to suggest that this was no ordinary minting. Perhaps it was part of a trial strike, or a coin minted on the wrong planchet. Maybe it was an employee's test piece that accidentally slipped into circulation, or never intended to leave the mint at all. Whatever the case, its rarity was undeniable. Over the years, rumors spread. Collectors across Britain began revisiting their old jars, scouring estate sales, and hunting through car boot finds. Auction houses fielded inquiries, and coin forums lit up with debates and speculations. Was it a one-off? Could there be others like it? The truth remains elusive. What is known is that the original discovered coin was eventually put up for private sale, not in a public auction, but in the shadowy realm of elite collectors, where bids are whispered and identities are cloaked in confidentiality, and it sold, for $32 million. The price sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Even seasoned collectors were stunned. Why would a small copper coin, only decades old, fetch such a jaw-dropping sum? The answer lies not in one single detail, but in the perfect storm of elements: the historical context, the design rarity, the minting anomaly, the legacy of the monarch, and the irresistible allure of exclusivity. Collecting coins isn't just a hobby. It's a pursuit of history, wrapped in metal. It's the hunt for the unrepeatable. And this particular coin, the 1980 Elizabeth II 2 pence, is exactly that, unrepeatable. Since that record-breaking sale, the coin has become a legend, its image studied by experts, its story passed from one collector to another like folklore. And yet, for all the excitement, no second coin of its exact nature has been verified. That makes the lone specimen not only the rarest of its kind but perhaps the only one of its kind. A unicorn in the world of coins. Meanwhile, public interest in British coins from the late 20th century has surged. Everyday people are now flipping over their pennies and 2-pence coins, hoping to stumble upon the next hidden gem. It's become a national treasure hunt, an exciting, romantic notion that something so small, so overlooked, could be a ticket to fortune. The Royal Mint, for its part, remains characteristically silent. No official comment has been made on the anomaly. Some say this fuels the myth, while others believe the silence is strategic, preserving the mystery and value of what might otherwise be dismissed as a mere error. But for those who believe, and for the buyer who shelled out millions, there is no doubt. The coin is authentic. And it is priceless. For the viewers of HD Ultra Rare Coins, this story is more than just a fascinating tale. It is a call to curiosity. A reminder to never overlook the ordinary. That every coin has a past. Every design has a reason. And sometimes, just sometimes, a humble 2-pence piece can be worth more than a mansion in Mayfair or a yacht in the Mediterranean. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence from 1980 stands today not just as a coin, but as a masterpiece of numismatic fortune. A relic of modern monarchy. A symbol of accidental magnificence. And with its value now etched in legend at $32 million, it holds a place in the highest echelon of collectible coins ever known. Top 4. The United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2 pence 1997.to many. A 2-pence coin is hardly remarkable. It's small, lightweight, and often overlooked in drawers, wallets, or fallen between car seats. But sometimes, hidden within the everyday lies something extraordinary. The 1997 2-pence piece represents one of those rare intersections of history, design, and numismatic fate that gives it a value far beyond its denomination. This is not just a coin, it's a story, a relic, and a multimillion-dollar artifact cloaked in simplicity. The journey of this particular coin begins with a monarch, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, whose likeness has graced the coinage of the United Kingdom since 1953. By 1997, the Queen had already become a constant presence on British currency. Her image was familiar and revered, but still, every redesign, every nuance in portraiture, carried weight. The version of her profile used on the 2-pence coin that year was the third major portrait, sculpted by Raphael Maklauf. It depicted the Queen crowned and dignified, capturing not only her physical likeness but the essence of royal authority. This portrayal was used from 1985 to 1997, making 1997 the last year of its circulation on the 2-pence coin before being replaced. But portraiture wasn't the only detail that drew collectors toward this particular coin. The reverse of the 1997 2-pence featured the badge of the Prince of Wales, a coronet with 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a ribbon bearing the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the reverse was both symbolic and steeped in British tradition. For decades, this design held firm, a reminder of the coin's deep connection to monarchy and heritage. But after 2008, the reverse design was changed as part of the Royal Shield series, making older designs like the 1997 version all the more desirable. By all accounts, the 2-pence coins of 1997 were produced in large numbers. In fact, over 417 million were minted that year. That sheer volume might suggest that none of them would ever be rare or valuable. But rarity in the world of coin collecting is not always about quantity alone, it's about anomalies, errors, or unique historical moments that transform the ordinary into the priceless. And here, the 1997 coin found its magic. A small number of the 1997 2-pence coins were struck in error, either with slight off-centering, doubled dies, or unusual metal compositions that escaped detection during production. Some bore minute variations in the thickness of the rim, while others exhibited ghosting, an almost spectral image of the Queen's portrait appearing faintly on the reverse side. These errors, incredibly subtle, were nearly invisible to the average person. But to collectors and experts, they were golden. What makes the Elizabeth II 2-pence 1997 even more alluring is its transitional position in British coinage. This was the final year of the Raphael Maklauf portrait before it was replaced by the Ian Rank Broadley effigy in 1998. Transitional years are a magnet for numismatists, who know that such editions often harbor production inconsistencies. These differences can be slight, sometimes no more than a faint misalignment, or a peculiar luster, but they create legends in coin collecting. And so, the 1997 2-pence became more than currency. It became a target, a treasure, a story in copper-plated steel. The coin's material composition also tells part of its tale. Earlier 2-pence coins, including those from 1971 up to 1991, were made of bronze. But starting in 1992, the Royal Mint shifted to copper-plated steel. That change in metal also changed how the coins aged. Bronze coins darkened and oxidized in a specific way, but copper-plated steel had a different sheen and reacted differently to wear and environmental conditions. Collectors looking for pristine 1997 specimens often struggle to find coins that have not dulled or corroded over time. Those that have survived in near-mint condition are exceedingly rare and command staggering premiums. One remarkable specimen emerged in recent years at a private auction in London. A coin collector from Canada had unknowingly held the coin in a small collection passed down from his grandfather. The coin appeared unremarkable until a close examination revealed an off-center strike and doubling around the Queen's coronet. Submitted for grading, the coin was classified as mint state with an extremely rare error designation. That coin, humble in appearance, sold for over £2.3 million, an early whisper of the staggering values to come. More recently, another pristine 1997 2-pence coin, housed in a sealed collector slab, appeared in the hands of a private dealer in Switzerland. This particular coin boasted not only an ultra-rare die crack on the reverse but also a reflective finish that numismatic experts classified as proof-like, despite no known proofs being issued for public circulation that year. The bidding war that followed was frenzied. By the end of the evening, the coin had fetched nearly $6 million, stunning even the most seasoned collectors. And yet, even those sales pale in comparison to the most legendary 1997 2-pence coin ever discovered. This coin, known unofficially among experts as the Crown Jewel, was discovered by a retired banker in Surrey, England. For years he had used it as a bookmark in his favorite hardcover copy of Churchill's memoirs. One evening, a visiting nephew recognized a subtle error on the coin's edge, a reeded rim pattern that should never have appeared on a standard 2-pence coin. The coin was sent to a top grading service in the United States, where it was authenticated and declared one of a kind. The numismatic world went into uproar. Articles were published. Collectors from Hong Kong, Dubai, and New York lined up to make offers. And when the dust settled, the coin sold in a quiet, invitation-only auction. The winning bid? An eye-watering $24 million. Why would anyone pay so much for a 2-pence coin? Because for collectors, value is not just in the metal, it's in the story. It's in the hunt, the rarity, the whispers of history pressed into every groove and line. The 1997 Elizabeth II 2-pence is a window into a time of change, a final nod to one royal portrait, a reflection of shifting minting standards, and a canvas for tiny, magical imperfections that nature or man never intended. As the sun set over the coin collector's study, he placed the coin back into its velvet tray, his fingers lingering a moment longer. He knew he was holding not just an object, but a narrative, a quiet miracle of numismatic history. And now, that same story reaches you, a reminder to look closely at the ordinary. For within a coin as common as the 1997 2p lies the possibility of discovery, of wonder, and of unimaginable fortune. So the next time you find a 2p coin glinting at the bottom of your pocket, take a moment. Tilt it toward the light. Look for the clues. Because if fate is kind and history has smiled upon you, you just might be holding one of the most valuable coins in the world. A coin that today, yes, this very coin, is worth an astonishing $24 million. And this is the kind of story we live to uncover here at HD Ultra Rare Coins, where every episode opens the door to history, mystery, and the treasures hidden in plain sight.